Hey guys, welcome back to RHR Jen Hong Kong. I'm so glad you're here. We have so much to talk about. Whatever. Love Jen. We have so much to talk about as ever. Meghan is up to some stuff, and I'm going to break it all down for you and talk about what's going on. Always up to something. When all else fails, throw more crap at the wall and see what sticks. Guys, I'm Jen. I'm so glad you're here, Hong Kong, everyone. Let's just dive right into this. I'm sure you've heard by now, but in case you haven't, Meghan is seriously up to some stuff. Do you think she'd let the Ingrifftus thing happen where she was maybe sent home, possibly, or left of her own accord, or maybe sent home, and not try to steal attention? You thought it was just the Valentine's Day. Let me cut strawberries with a huge knife. No, 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 no. No, that's not all. She's up to some more stuff, and I'm here to talk about it. Let's get right into this, guys. I'm so glad you're here. By the way, in case you missed it, definitely go watch my Blake Lively coverage. I started that earlier today. Sat down with John Witherspoon, and we talked all about Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the Justin Baldoni of it all. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already, because it is so interesting and there's so much to that case. I really want you to see it because I plan on talking about it more as more stuff comes out. So make sure you're familiar with that. But okay, let's look at what Meghan is up to. With Love Meghan. Is it still With Love Meghan? We don't know. Maybe. But now we have As Ever. Okay, I can't even say As Ever Meghan because I don't know that we got As Ever Meghan, but we did get this. Wow. So much to talk about. So this came out very early this morning with the loopy swoopy writing. We don't even know what this is, and I'm going to go into what I think is going on because there's a lot happening here and a lot to this, but I just wanted to show you in case you hadn't seen it. As Ever. Okay. When I saw that, I immediately thought, as if you're about my age, you know what I'm talking about, Clueless. And that is why I dress like this. Very preppy, very clueless. Very clueless. As if. So we have As Ever. Then my mind started wandering, saying, As Ever. As Ever. And I started thinking, Asshole. As Clown. As Hat. Jackass. As Wipe. There's so many things that could, but please continue this conversation on in the comments. I need to know, where did your brain go on this? As Ever. As Ever. As Ever a failure? What do we're trying more things as ever. We can't stick with anything as ever. Like, there's just so much to this that's so funny to me. As ever. What does that even mean in her context? As ever. As ever to me implies a sense of sticking with something. She doesn't stick with things. So what is as ever? She doesn't stick with people. She doesn't stick with ideas. She doesn't stick with work. She doesn't stick with plans. She probably won't stick with the husband. She hasn't previously stuck with husband. So what are we talking about? What's the as ever? Same as ever. Not putting in any effort. Being okay. Anyway, you get the idea. So there's that I want to show you. And I want to talk about this. What am I looking at here? Save a seat at the table. Okay, I have a lot to say there. What does she have in her hand? And did anybody else think this thing right behind her was a really long finger? Because I did. And I say that as somebody with long fingers. That looks like a long finger or a hot dog or a carrot. But what does she have in her hand? Is it just a big, expensive, fancy spoon? It just looks weird to me. Save a seat at the table. So then, yeah, is that a finger? What am I looking at here? I just want to make sure you saw it. So I wanted to remind you all the first thing that I thought of when I saw it, which is several things, but I never wanted to be a lady who lunches. I've always wanted to be a woman who works. And this type of work is what feeds my soul. Okay. You don't want to be a lady who lunches. You want to be a woman who works. Are you a lunch lady? I mean, you're literally making lunch here. So is that the work you're talking about? I want to thank my friends behind the scenes who have been so helpful with all of this, but some of you guys pointed out this, I'm going to get it right. I think it's called tradwife, traditional wife, thing is really popular on social media. So they think she's leaning into this influencer tradwife thing, which is an interesting idea. I think there's something to be said there. I do have a theory, which we'll get into, that it's not so much the wife thing she's leaning away from that. I'll show you what I mean. But yeah, so there's the weird finger thing. I wanted to show you this too. Don't give it 5 minutes if you're not going to give it 5 years. That's a quote she gave, Create and Cultivate, in 2016. Okay. Again, she just says these things and does not stick with them, which is ironic given this quote. But think about it, because with love, Meghan isn't even here yet. Now we have As Ever. And then what happened to ARO? Is this in place of ARO? American Riviera Orchard. You have to say it like that. How should we say As Ever? To me, in my head, I think of whatever. And I think As Ever, as in like whatever. As ever. That's how I think I'll say it. Shall we say it like that? As ever. Meghan as ever. No plan, just throwing shit at the wall. But that made me laugh going back over that quote there. Don't give it 5 minutes if you're not going to give it 5 years. That doesn't seem to be your mantra, Meghan. You say these things, but you don't follow through. And then there's this. Women need a seat at the table. They need an invitation to be seated there. Okay, I see what you're doing there. Let's go back. So yeah, she's saying they need to be invited, and then she's tying it back into save your seat at the table. All right, makes me want to bang my head against the wall as ever. So we saw the birds, right? This is the logo that was put on this thing, or whatever. It looks like a logo to me. It was put on this thing, and I started looking at it. And I was like, what is this? What is this thing? Now, somebody really funny had put, it looks like radioactive birds near a 5G. I forget what they call it, but it made me laugh. And that's what I see too now is radioactive birds. But then I want to show you this. Do you remember that she has mentioned palm trees before? This came up on I believe it was the Harry and Meghan documentary, the faux documentary, palm trees. And the idea was that they have a pair of palm trees in their garden to represent their love. Can you imagine? Please, please, please go tell your significant other that you planted palm trees to represent your love and report back and let me know how that goes. I plan on rushing right out and telling Jamie Dornan that I've planted trees for us, and then he will promptly get a restraining order, which means he loves me. Yay, Jamie. Our palm trees will go. Actually, our palm trees would go like theirs, like we're chasing and running. Anyway, who's chasing, who's running? But this isn't the first time we've heard of the palm tree thing. But what's interesting to me and what I think about here is when I see this, if this is the new logo, I have to say a big if, because it's kind of weird how this stuff came out. And I'm going to get into this. But if this is the logo, which it appears to be because it was with that picture, it's a single palm tree. Could this be something like some sort of, I'm just speculating. I just had this feeling. Is this a solo launch that she's preparing us for? Like, get ready with love, myself. As ever, I'm single. I don't know. But if we're going with the palm tree theory, then it fits because see, there's a lone palm tree and two birds. I know everybody wants to argue about the kids, but if you believe the kids exist, I believe they exist. There's two of them. So it could be a lone palm tree and two kids in theory. And it's not that I think she's super maternal or fighting for those kids. It's more of just, look at me, look at my kids. I'm a mother kind of thing. I wouldn't put it past her. And let's go ahead and put our tinfoil hats. I have a crown, so I'll do that. I was going to say, I need to keep a piece of tinfoil here. I don't often go into conspiracy, but I will in this place because I have a conspiracy theory for you. Lone palm tree, two birds, one Meghan, two kids. I'm kind of stuck on this, but I have a conspiracy, and that is, did you hear that Harry left? Sorry, what am I thinking? Harold left Invictus suddenly last night. Yeah, I did too. So they're trying to say in some articles and stuff that it's a security thing. But then other people were saying, well, that's weird because he was just there taking photos. Maybe it was a security thing. But what if it was this? I'm not saying that he figured out the lone palm tree, but what if this stuff started coming out last night? And he was like, oh, crap. I don't know. It's just a theory. There might not be anything to it. It hit me that a lot of weirdness is going on and nothing would surprise me. So Lone Palm Tree, 2 kids. Is this her single era, her single gal launch? I'm just wondering. Let me know what you think about that. Yeah, here's the palm tree thing, and then here's the logo up close. So again, looking at this logo, I started thinking about that, and I was like, huh. But they have talked about hummingbirds before, and they talk about them in regard to Diana. So I wonder if it's not a callback to that as well. I believe it's in Spare. They referred to hummingbirds and kind of alluded to it's mom, in between the face cream references. So I wonder if it's not a callback to that, but I want to point you toward this. I just got a very I was like, where is this? When I see this, what do I instantly think of? And I know it's not the same, but I instantly thought of Tommy Bahama because you kind of have the cursor and you have the palm tree. The other thing I thought about was my sunglasses, Maui Jim. This is their logo. And no, I'm not saying it's the same, but you got Loopy Swoopy writing. And in her case, I actually like their writing and I like their sunglasses. But in her case, I call it, hold on, I call it Loopy Swoopy bullshit writing. Okay. Because that's kind of what it is, as ever. Oh, I also meant to mention I kept staring at this. I was like, something's weird. And I started playing with the anagrams of the letters. And all I could come up with is savor. Not savior, but savor, as in she saves people. Savor. What is she saving? She's saving herself. Nothing would shock me on this. And I feel like she's trying to send us clues. There's the Maui Gem. Again, loopy swoopy. I wouldn't put anything past her as far as that goes. There's that. And then we have this. I do want to give shout out to Princess Carparkle, who is pointing out that it's Mallorca's coat of arms. Okay. I don't know how that works. Is there a trademark on a coat of arms? I'm sure. How does that work? But yeah, no research done. Oh, and then she gives credit to @Catmorin, Morrin, but no research done. 0 F's given. Just more throw it at the wall BS as far as I'm concerned. This was my thought as ever. I thought I always loved this movie. If you haven't seen this movie, watch this movie. I'm not even the biggest Drew Barrymore fan, but I do really like this movie, Ever After. If you don't know, Ever After is the story of Cinderella. It's just whatever. It's not a cartoon. It's these actors. And by the way, the guy is Dougray Scott. Get to know Dougray Scott. He's great. Very handsome. He's married to the girl from Meet Joe Black, Claire Forlini. Very good looking. Anyway, but this popped into my head, and this might be a stretch, but go with me. This is what I thought of because I love this movie. It's the story of Cinderella. She's like, a commoner, if you will, or whatever, a peasant, and she meets this prince, and it's the whole thing. And I won't give it away, but it's the story of Cinderella, basically. And I thought, okay, maybe Meghan will never try to be fully relatable, but I wonder if she would never see herself as a peasant either, but I wonder if she sees herself in something like this, like Cinderella, that kind of thing. And so the Ever After just instantly hit me, but it's a reason to talk about this movie because I love this movie. Nancy pointing out that she did gain another 100,000 people, allegedly bots, maybe? I don't know. Interesting. And so something is definitely going on. Queer Lips of Truth, which made me laugh, is calling her the Duchess of Failures, which I don't know, this picture I don't know who did it, but it's really funny. And then World News Network had an interesting theory here. I want to give Brittany a shout out and pointing out that Meghan Markle's Shopify account for her new show is visible. And get this, as ever. So it's called As Ever. So then that would suggest it's in the place of With Love, Meghan. So are they just rebranding the show completely and calling it As Ever? And then leaving off the Meghan? Is it Meghan such a terrible draw that they're afraid to attach her name to it? Anybody else get that feeling? Listen, no theory is a bad theory. You can definitely let me know in the comments because I'm very curious to get your takes on all this. But she points to sheer stupidity and horrifically awful brand management. Amen to that. brand launching, a marketing strategy, etc. It should it should favor its bad business practices alone, and here's why. But then I wanted to point out one other thing that Brittany showed, which is this. Since posting this, it sounds like that the store page is gone. Now, this is why I was dancing around like, where did this stuff come from? What is this? This as ever. Brittany is thinking, and I tend to agree, and so I want to give her the shout out here for pointing out. We think this was launched early. That this was just let me go back to the original, that this was just a big mistake, and that somebody hit publish early. Now, as somebody who was involved with the With Love Meghan and my friends who helped With Love Meghan, we set up a website, withlovemeghan.net and withlovemeghan.uk, and raised a bunch of money for a good cause. Thank you to everybody who gave to the Royal Marsden Hospital. That's fantastic. And it's still open if you want to give. But anyway, okay. It's easy to accidentally hit publish. We didn't do it, thank goodness, but it's easy to do. I wonder if they accidentally hit publish. I would like to know, I don't know the timeline on this. That's the part where I hesitate a little bit. But what if they just go with me on this tinfoil hat? Again, got to do it. This tinfoil hat journey, this crown journey. Imagine they accidentally published this early and they weren't meant to. Imagine that Harold got wind of it, the lone palm tree and the two birds, and he left early. Imagine. Hypothetically, what if? And maybe not, but just again, I don't typically go conspiracy theory, but this is where my brain's at. So I feel like I need to share these thoughts with you. Yeah, I find this so odd. And then here's another hypothetical. Okay. So what if With Love Meghan is still under Netflix and they're heading? So I'm thinking about Housewives. I used to cover Housewives. So if you didn't watch them, doesn't matter. Just go with me on this journey. There's usually a clause in the contracts about Housewives that if you start a business, like there's business dealings. If you start a business and you sell things, then you're going to have to basically Bravo gets a cut of it. There are instances where an established business may not have to do that. It kind of depends on the person and what the person in Bravo agree to. So what if, hypothetically, just speculating here, Meghan had started With Love Meghan under Netflix and then decided, you know what? I don't want to give up some of the profits. So she kept With Love Meghan and then did this As Ever. I almost called it whatever. As Ever is a separate thing to have her products and not give up a cut. Again, I'm speculating. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. What if that's a thing and she accidentally launched it early? I don't know. Could be. Interesting theories, I think. I want to know your theories. Let me know. But this whole thing just strikes me so odd. She's up to some stuff, and I really want to know what you think it is and get your opinion and your take on it because she's up to some stuff. As ever, as if, whatever. That's all I can think of when I do this stuff is whatever. Do you think that that's what she tells Harold? Probably so. I just want to get this back on the screen one more time. Bear with me. He's like, I love you, Meghan. She's like, whatever. As ever. Goodness gracious. All right. I'm stuck on this. The other thought I had, it's not nice, but that's okay. We're here for the snark. The other thought I had is if you're often compared to an emu, and she is, if you're often compared to an emu, why are you putting birds in your logo? Just wondering. Also, there's no nice way to say this. If you're often talked about with, a jutting chin or a tense look, I just am surprised that she would choose this as her photo. I think she thinks it makes it look friendly, maybe. I don't know. As ever, the loopy swoopy BS writing. It looks like they've cut off part of the letters or something, and it's supposed to be more to these words. And I can't figure out what the more to the words are, but I'm sticking with as whole, as clown, as hat, jackass, and as wipe. Again, leave me more in the comments below, but I'm going to leave this here because I'm just coming in on this and I want to see what happens with this and what's going on. Tell me your theories. Tell me if you think I'm on the right track. I'd love to know. As always, thank you for being here. I appreciate it as ever. Oh, I would like to shout out to Chrono Royals at Chrono Royals 01 on YouTube because they just started up their channel. They have their first video up and they're lovely. And there's 2 listings. So find this one at Chrono Royals 01 and subscribe because their first video is up. And they're the ones that make me the pictures. And guys, in case you didn't see it, they just made me my favorites. I love Alice in Wonderland. That's my favorite book. And look what they did. They made me Jen's Wonderland. I love it so very much. Look at that. Look at me. Seriously, though, I'm obsessed with these. And look, they turned the white rabbit into a goose. I mean, I love them. I love that they're moody. I love that they're fun. I love that that goose is chasing me through the woods and wearing a top hat. I think that's great. I love this so much. So thank you, Chrono Royals. Please make sure you guys subscribe to them. They're wonderful. Look at that. Look at me. I do. I love this photo so much. I do. I think it's beautiful. But again, a shout out to them and make sure you are now following them here on YouTube. It's at Chrono Royals 01. That's the easiest way to find them. But they have one video up now and it's Queen's Final Move. And it goes over the titles, the Sussex titles. So check that out. And thank you, Chrono Royals, for being so lovely to me and my flock. You're wonderful. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. You know what? As I close this out, let's do this. Let's see. Which one's they're all so good. I don't know. That one maybe? Oh, that one. Yeah, that's my favorite. Okay. As I close this out, I want to say a huge thank you to you all. Thank you to those who watched Blake Lively stuff. If you haven't, go watch that. I have part 2 coming out tomorrow. Thank you for being here and watching this. Thank you for being at the channel. I love you flockers so much. I do have the Michelle Royal Daily Tea coming up soon, so look for that. Yeah, I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this as ever. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. A huge thank you to my Patreon peeps for your support. You mean the whole wide world to me. If you guys are interested, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. That's where you can become an executive producer like the lovely geese and ganders you see on the screen before you. You guys mean so much to me and I appreciate it. There's hundreds of bonus material over there, bonus videos over there. I recap everything from Sex and the City to I have a couple episodes of Always Sunny. I have a couple episodes of Friends and just a lot of deep dives over there. So check that out if you're interested. And as always, thank you for being here and supporting my channel. It means the whole world to me. Curious to see what happens with all this and curious to see, I got to put on my crown now. Curious to see where this goes. I am. I'm so curious because curiouser and curiouser, right? Alice. I am. I'm curious to see what happens with all this. I feel like they're up to some shenanigans and I can't wait to call them out as per usual. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Let me know your thoughts on all of this and I'll talk to you again soon. Honk honk flockers. Bye.